Hi, and welcome to Mr. and Mrs. G Talk Business. This is your opportunity to ask those burning business questions that are keeping you awake at night. And today I've got a question from Sarah. And Sarah has asked, she says, I often get to the end of the day and think, where has the day gone? How come I haven't achieved all I set out to achieve today? Great question, Sarah. And if anybody tells you they don't have days like that, don't believe them. So thoughts, Kevin?
Yeah, it is a really common problem. Even what you would call time ninjas sometimes get caught out by it. But what I tend to find, probably the best place to look, there are lots of things you can do, but probably the best place to look is to have a look at what your time bandits are. And by time bandits, they're things, people, or situations that are stealing your time, and they come disguised. They come disguised as things like emails, social media feeds. There could be friends and family, well-meaning people who don't realise that the effect they're having on your working day. So I remember working with a guy called Mike, and this was definitely one of his problems. He was taking work home with him because he couldn't concentrate enough at work to do the work, and that was creating problems for him at home. And if you think about that, how crazy that is! He's going to work to do his work, but he couldn't do his work because he was in work. That's just like madness. So what I got Mike to do was to have a disturbance log. What was it that was catching his day? What was it that was catching his attention? What was it that was dragging him off track? It could be things like phone calls. It could be emails. It could be people who just turn up unannounced, because that did happen to him a couple of times. I remember family members who were just passing by decided to knock on the door and call on the business. But it also could be things like that knock on the door. Have you got a minute, boss? Or boss, we've got this big problem. I need help with it. It could sometimes be that he was disappearing down a social media black hole, and a lot of people do that one, and they give themselves the excuse. They think it's all right. They're a little bit in denial about it because it's marketing, and we're on social media for marketing. But if I ask somebody, what's your return on investment for that time that you're putting into that marketing, I've never yet found a person that can answer that question. And by the way, I'm not standing on a plinth here saying I'm better than that. That's very much something that I'm guilty of. So that's one of the sins I do. And once we got a list together of what was creating those distractions, or who was creating those distractions, then we could look at, so what are you in control of it? What can you control in this situation? So like, he could switch off his email. He could, let me get hold of this gadget, not answer this bloody thing. He could switch it off. He could silence it. And for those of you who think it's a step too far, in terms of silencing or switching off your email, then switch off the notifications. Book a time in when you can actually go and do it. But once we realize what he can control, and most of the time what he could control people knocking on his door, but he needed to position it to people. This is how my working day is, and I'm going to put time aside for those knocks on the door. So he could do that. So mostly it's about positioning with other people, and then it's also about putting systems in place so that can work. But then what else we were able to do was then really sort of, I got him to put his deerstalker hat on, if you like, and become Sherlock Holmes, and really dig in and find what the root cause was. And when we looked in his disturbance log, we knew who. I'd asked him who was who was knocking on the door and saying, "Have you got a minute, boss?" But also, how long did the disturbance take, and how long did it take to solve the problem? And I can remember over a 2-week period, he had lots of knocks on the door, and there's certain names that were showing up day in, day out. And one that could have easily slipped through the cracks was one guy. But when he came along, and he only disturbed him once in the 2 weeks, but when he came along and disturbed him, he always dropped a bomb on him. And when he dropped a bomb on him, it took him days and days sometimes to solve the problem. And actually, when we solved that problem with that one particular guy, Mike, his name was, actually managed to get back 6 days a month of undisturbed time. That's 6 days. That's a full working week from just one disturbance. And you know that one disturbance was creating more time problems than all the other disturbances it was getting. So that was that. I've ranted here a little bit. I've been on a roll. That would be one of my tips, if you like.
Okay, yeah, nice long tip there. Okay, something that I'm very guilty of back in a past life, and probably still do it to a certain level now, was Superman, or in my case, Wonder Woman syndrome. So what do I mean by that? Back in the day, when we were in our hospitality and our hotels and restaurants, I would swoop in and fix a problem. So the staff would have an issue with balancing the paperwork, balancing the safe, doing all that sort of admin paperwork, creating the next week's rota, all of those sorts of things. And the thing was, I would swoop in, come in, fix a problem. The staff stood around watching me fix the problem and patting me on the back and telling me how clever I was.
And you were paying them to watch you?
Yeah, I was paying them to watch me. But the crazy thing was, when they all went home, I'd still be working till midnight and beyond to do the stuff that I hadn't done because I'd been so busy showing off at how clever I was. So that's another thing to be aware of. Make sure that you are putting together your how-tos so that people don't have to come to you for you to show them, that they can actually discover those things for themselves. One of my clients implemented a system where when somebody came in and said, "Have you got a minute?" he would say, "I'll be with you in half an hour." They'd go back off to their office, to their desk. Half an hour later, when he went to see them, they'd fix the problem themselves. So sometimes that response can work quite well as well.
I think an interesting point there, actually, when you because one of that Superman syndrome, or what is it, Wonder Woman syndrome you called it?
Yeah,
when something we often forget when we employ people is we think we employ a pair of hands, but those pair of hands come with a brain that's able to think. So we don't have to fix all their problems for them.
Good point. So to recap, how to stop wasting your time, Sarah. Get clear on what your top time thieves are. Look at what you can control versus what you can't control. And then always get to the root cause so that you can eliminate it at source and stop it reoccurring. So in my case, I needed to do more training and more how-tos so that my team could do the rotas and the sorts of things that they should have been doing, so that I could, enjoy my time off. So by doing this, I guarantee you'll be more productive and get more done every single day, I promise. So thanks for watching. Do you know a friend, a colleague, someone who would benefit from watching this? Do go ahead and share. If you've got any ideas around time management that you would like to share with Sarah and with us, please do put your comments in the comments below. And if you have got a question that you'd like to ask, you can pop that in the comments as well. And of course, if you've not signed up for our videos, do sign up for those. That way you'll get notifications every time we post a new video. So thank you so much for watching this.
We've just been telling people to switch off notifications, and you're telling them to get notifications. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. See you in the next video. Go and have a cracking week.